Good afternoon, or should I say evening, morning. Morning? At any rate, I am the Game Master. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Before we begin, there is something I must tell you. You see, my job is to draw you into this world with my voice and cards, which is why I believe it best for you to play with the sound on. In fact, I insist on it. However, as you can see, my voice is subtitled, so you can always read along as well. Now then, are you ready? Let's begin. Welcome to Voice of Cards. You are about to take the first steps of your adventure. Through a realm of sword and sorcery you will travel, battling bloodthirsty monsters as you strive to realize your ambitions. I have every faith you will accomplish great things here. I am merely a witness to your exploits. Now then, your departure draws nigh. May your journey be a safe one. We begin in a cave. The surrounding rocks are slimy with damp. It feels as if some foul creature could leap out from the shadows at any moment. Yet in this horrible place gathers a fellowship of 3 adventurers. One is a young woman. You can tell just by looking at her, she enjoyed a good upbringing. Another is a stoic warrior. He stands at the ready, scanning his surroundings for any sign of threat. Last but not least is the old man. He has a sagely air and gazes into the darkness stretching out before him. These adventurers seek a certain treasure hidden in this cave. An iron door towers before you. It has rather conspicuous handles. The stoic man takes hold of the handles and pulls as hard as he can, but the door doesn't so much as budge. The stoic man winds his leg back and lets fly a powerful kick into the door. As his foot connects, the door trundles to the side. So it was one of those sliding contraptions. Something leaps out at the fellowship from the darkness. Let's do this. These adventurers have seen their fair share of battle and defeat their attackers with ease. As the trio approaches the treasure chest, an awful rumbling resounds deep in the cave. "You shall not have it," a voice growls. Before the wary trio appear creatures the likes of which they've never seen. About the enemy. The young woman edges around the monster's bulk to stand before the treasure chest. There is treasure inside, no doubt about it, but it's locked tight. The woman slides the simple key into the lock. The chest clicks open. Inside is what appears for all the world to be an ordinary medicine bottle. At last, we've retrieved the royal treasure, the old man says. The woman and warrior exchange a nod. Their quest complete, the triumphant trio put the cave behind them. This is Castle Advent. Queen Nilla reigns over the kingdom from within its walls. In the crowded audience chamber jostle all manner of knights, adventurers, and bounty hunters. The white-robed adventurers stand close to the throne. A palace guard calls over the tumult, "Be silent. Her Royal Majesty graces us with her presence." The cacophony ceases the moment Queen Nilla enters the chamber. Seated upon the throne, the queen faces the crowd. Her lips part. Thank you all for heeding my call to slay the dragon. Whatever it takes to defeat this reawakened evil, I ask that you do it. Whomsoever conquers this beast will be honored for ages to come and handsomely rewarded. At that, the gathered crowd cheers loud enough to shake the castle's very foundations. Leave the dragon to us, Your Majesty, say the white-robed adventurers, as if the beast's demise at their hands is assured. Indeed, you did well to reclaim the royal treasure, the queen replies. I thank you, for my stomach becomes most upset without it, so the treasure is a staple of the royal medicine cabinet. It puts my mind at ease to know the Ivory Order offers its aid in slaying the dragon. The trio are disciples of the Ivory Order, a charitable organization beloved the realm over. Indeed, anyone would think this illustrious trio the heroes of our tale. But they'd be wrong. So we just gotta slay the dragon and we'll be drowning in gold. The man trails off, drooling over unknowable fantasies. Beside him, a strange creature lets out a chirping coo. Pay attention, because this is important. There he is, or there you are, I should say, the hero of our tale. A humble bounty hunter, you love little in this realm more than coin. A seemingly tedious fellow who doesn't hesitate to claim the title of hero for yourself. When you heard about the quest to slay the dragon, it was the promise of reward that lured you to the castle. Now then, if you wish to officially register for the hunt, see me so I can get your signature. You wonder why you need to sign anything, but head for the guard anyway. Shall we? Sign here, says the guard, handing you a pen and paper. You sign your name. A fine name. After you've signed, the guard motions to the strange creature beside you. The monster, too. You sign your companion's name as well. Mar. Mar, your friend and sometimes traveling companion. Though he can't speak the human tongue, he seems to understand it well enough. Thank you. Now we'll know what to have engraved on your tombstones. Can't ask the dead what name to mark their grave with, after all, the guard chortles. You want the reward as badly as you don't want to die. You figure you better make some strong friends. I'll let the order handle this. Me, I'm heading home. Never know what you might hear that'll lead you in the right direction. The man wanders off somewhere, muttering to himself. You'll need tough gear, the man says, wandering off. Before you even open your mouth to ask him to team up, he cuts you off. Thanks, but no thanks. You've yet to find any help for your quest. Things don't look that reassuring as they are, but the decision is up to you. In the end, you set out, just the two of you, to hunt the dragon. Before you stands a sign calling for people to join the hunt for the dragon. Earlier, you saw the bit about the handsome reward for whoever slays the dragon, and hightailed it to the castle. A woman stares at the sign, transfixed. Her face curls into a scowl as she notices you. "Monster!" the woman cries, and flings magic at Mar. Startled by the spell, Mar grows dizzy. You gather the dizzy Mar in your arms and glare at the woman. "This ain't a monster," you growl, as the woman snarls over you, "I hate monsters." The two of you bicker for quite a while. In the end, the woman admits she may have jumped to conclusions, but stubbornly refuses to apologize. Inwardly, you call her unsavory names as your attention shifts to a different topic of conversation. Turns out she really hates the dragon and would love to take him down with her own two hands. But she knows she's no match for him alone, so she's at a loss for what to do. When you tell her you're after the same thing, she squints down her nose at you. "Fine," she says. "I can help you." She's a little annoying, but you are looking for quest companions. "I only want to see the dragon dead. I don't care about anything else," she mutters. You overhear her remarks and grin without thinking. Then you don't care about getting a share of the reward. That suits you perfectly. You happily join forces with the black-clad woman. She introduces herself as Melanie. She tells you she is a witch, but says nothing of why she hates monsters or what grudge she bears against the dragon. A woman sits hunched over by the side of the road. Upon catching sight of you, she calls out for your aid. She's sprained her ankle and needs you to take her to the nearby apothecary. You try to lift the woman into your arms, but the weight's too much for you to bear. You lay the woman back down where you found her and mutter a quiet farewell before turning to leave. Upon seeing that, Melanie snaps. "What kind of person are you?" We've got the dragon to worry about, you say, like an insensitive jerk. Ignoring you, Melanie gingerly helps the woman up. Mar bends so the woman can get on his back, and the two of them head off in search of the apothecary. You watch them walk away for a moment before following, complaining to yourself about what a wasted time this is. You arrive at the apothecary. After taking a curative, the woman begins hopping up and down. Nothing holds a candle to Ivory Order medicine, she beams. She thanks you and pulls something from her breast pocket. You've helped someone, albeit not quite out of the goodness of your own heart. It might be a good idea to do that again, should you come across anyone else in need of assistance. Apparently, a monster researcher lives in Thriston and might know something about the dragon. As your eyes roam everywhere but the path you walk, you barrel right into someone. When you turn to see who it is, you see the Ivory Order trio from the castle. Winifred, are you all right? The sagely old man asks the woman, voice full of concern. I'm fine, the woman called Winifred replies. Thank you, Hedwyn. Berwin, the old man calls, turning to their stoic companion. He jerks forward, as if to defend Hedwyn and Winifred. The trio advances on you. How dare you treat disciples of the Ivory Order with such disrespect? They're the ones who ran into you, so if anything, they should be apologizing. We were standing still, says Hedwyn, his calm tone belying the anger on his face. Muttering a half-hearted apology, you try to keep walking. But that's when you notice something in your hand. Looks like you accidentally grabbed Winifred's coin purse when you ran into her. Thief, bellows Berwin, drawing his weapon. Guess you've got to fight your way past. Nice work. Nice work. As if forced by your magnificent presence itself, the Ivory Order disciples stagger a step back. It would seem you have the guts to take on the dragon, if nothing else, says Hedwyn. You mock the Ivory Order disciples for being sore losers. A scandalized look on his face. Berwin reveals the truth. we'd never actually bother fighting punks like you with our full strength. Now give that back, says Winifred, snatching the wallet out of your grip. We mustn't tarry any longer. To the monster researcher of Thryston with us, Hedwin urges his companions, and the trio depart. Aimless wandering can be fun, but if you want purpose and direction, I'd suggest sticking to the path. Kick a rock down the road, muttering about what jerks those three from the Ivory Order are. Cut it out, chides Melanie. She warns you your anger will only come back to bite you in the rear. You grumble, but your sulking is cut short when out of the thicket leaps a monster. The rock you kicked must have hit it because it is really mad. Brace yourself for battle. About the enemy. Cyprian Cyprian Amber has lived here for many years, conducting research on monsters. All the townsfolk affectionately call him Cypri. If anyone knows anything about the dragon, it's him. He's a veritable monster expert. You ask Cypri if he knows anything about the dragon. He says he'll tell you if you do him a favor. The monsters stole a precious treasure from him. If you reclaim the treasure, Cypri promises to tell you all he knows about the dragon. It seems the treasure-thieving monster makes its hideout in the Western Cave. That's where you'll want to head. How may I help you? The proprietress inquires. How may I help you? The proprietress inquires. Will that be all? The proprietress asks. light can't reach the furthest depths of the cave, it may be impossible to proceed without a torch. You light the torch. It'll be much easier to explore now with your surroundings better illuminated. Though the torch lights your immediate surroundings, you still cannot peer far into the distance. The door is shut tight. It seems some strange force keeps it barred. Upon closer examination of the door, you spot a cavity that looks like some sort of sphere should go there. You put the magic sphere into the cavity, and the door opens. A claret trail leads you deeper into the cave. Was the walking wounded a monster or a human? A knot forms in your gut. You raise the torch to get a better look at your surroundings. The walls have been gouged and scarred as far as you can see. Another message comes into view, written in tiny letters among the scars. I will find you. What horrors transpired here? You make to the next instant, something leaps at you out from the darkness. The monster defeated, you turn toward the treasure chest. And see those Ivory Order jerks rooting through it. You rush over, but you're too late to stop them. Sweet of you to take care of the monsters for us, trills Winifred, favoring you with a smile. Tucking the spoils from the chest safely into a bag, the Ivory Order trio stroll away whence they came. Knowing you couldn't stop them if you tried, you can do nothing but stand slack-jawed and watch them go. The chest is empty, save for a ragged doll. Nice of them to leave us the trash, you grumble in irritation. For some reason, Melanie picks up the ragged doll. Your shoulders slump. All that effort, and this is all you get to show for it? You find nothing else even close to treasure. Hope Cypri is ready for bad news. Leave now would be the fastest way out. You left the western cave. Were you able to find my treasure? Cypri asks. This is all we found, says Melanie, withdrawing the ragged doll. Cypri's eyes widen as soon as he sees the doll, and he reaches out to take it. Without breaking his gaze away from the doll, he begins to speak. Cypri tells you he gifted this doll to his young daughter a long time ago. But she fell gravely ill and died. Since then, Cypri has treasured this doll as he treasured his daughter. Then the monsters took it from him. Cypri turns to Melanie, his head bowed deeply in gratitude. So you reclaimed the treasure by complete accident. You step closer to Cypri. What do you know about the dragon? You rudely inquire. Cypri gestures as if to say, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Far to the east of town is a place called Unionville, where monsters and humans live together in harmony. According to Cypri, you might be able to learn something there, as the dragon and monsters are not totally unrelated. Upon hearing that, you turn on your heel to leave. Cypri calls out to stop you. Journeying to Unionville entails traversing the dense expanse of the bewildering wood. You'll need this, he says, and holds out something for you. You won't make it through the bewildering wood without it, Cypri says. Your sights set on the distant Unionville, you resolve to navigate through the bewildering wood. A monster appears, to be in pain. Seems the poor thing's been poisoned. You may be able to aid it by administering some antidote. You would help it if you could, but you have no antidote on hand. Unable to do anything more, you keep walking. You pick up a scrap of paper dropped by some manner of monster. It has a message scrawled on it in crude lettering. Clearly, whoever dropped this message did not want to forget where the stolen treasure is hidden. You stash the scrap of paper in your pack and resolve to keep an eye out for the treasure on your travels. A thick fog impedes your vision. You surmise this is in no small part why they call it the Bewildering Wood. Many a brave soul has set foot in this wood, only to be swallowed up and never seen nor heard from again, the traveler intones gravely. They also tell of a certain tool one needs to get through this place. Trees bearing very solid-looking nuts whip to and fro in the force of the gale. This doesn't bode well for you. One of the nuts flies off a branch and smacks Mar right on the head. Poor Mar clutches the spot, eyes tearing up from the blow. A message is written on the sign. Seek out the 4 stela hidden deep in these woods. You have found the Northern Stela. It doesn't look particularly special. You resolve to touch it anyhow. You have found the Eastern Stela. You see the words Melody of Fortune chiseled into the corner. Nuts fly off the trees and smack you and your friends right on the head. Everyone's faces screw up in agony. You have found the Southern Stela. You smack it and hear a sound off to the west. You'd best head that way next. You have found the Western Stela, which you swear up and down was not here when you came in. Nevertheless, you give it a smack. You have found all 4 of the Stela in the Bewildering Wood. On a perhaps related note, you hear a sound emanating from the east. You hear a beautiful melody flowing from the forest depth. Attributing it to your imagination, you decide to ignore it. A short moment later, the melody stops. You examine the Stela. The message carved into the Stela reads, "Play in tune with the forest." You hold the woodland flute you received from the good doctor in Thriston. doot doodly doot 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 doo. You blow a handful of pleasant enough notes into the woodland flute. You soon become aware of accompanying percussion, which reveals itself to be a series of impeccably timed footfalls racing toward you. A young woman appears before you. "That was absolutely dreadful," she whinges, her jaunty gait betraying her enjoyment. She calls herself Riddis and declares herself a woodlander, resident of the bewildering wood. By sheer coincidence, the flute on which you played those notes was one designed to call the woodland people to your side. Stunned by your good fortune, you ask Riddis to lead you eastward out of the forest. What luck! She agrees far more readily than you ever anticipated. But, she continues, extending her hand, you'll have to hand over the woodland flute first. You hand over the flute, firmly restating that she may have it on the condition she leads you out of the bewildering wood. Riddis plucks the woodland flute out of your hands with glee and begins playing it as she skips away. Well, playing is a generous term. It sounds as though she may as well be murdering the poor thing. Riddis makes it clear that the fastest way out of the woods is through woodland, where she lives. "It's that-a-way," Riddis says gleefully, pointing past the stela before you. "Welcome to Woodland," Riddis says, gesturing out over the village. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm quite busy for the rest of the day, so you'll have to wait till tomorrow to leave the forest," she says, and makes her way home. "Been a while since we've had any outsiders," the innkeeper says, beckoning the party inside. "It turns out this inn is simply a place where the poor lost souls trapped in the bewildering wood may recover. You may stay as long as you like, free of charge." The wooden dining table practically groans under the weight of the platters upon it, all brimming with meats and vegetables from the bewildering wood. "I've certainly earned this," you say to yourself, as you slide into your seat at the table, positively drooling over the feast before you. Melanie takes no note of your boorish behavior, uttering a small prayer of thanksgiving before reaching for a plate of vegetables. Mar sits, eyes fixed on the food upon the table, statuesque in his stillness. What a good boy. Mar clears the entire table in a matter of seconds, even emptying the water barrel in a single gulp. He lets out a self-satisfied burp that sends a small jet of just-drank water arcing out onto the floor. The sun sinks low, and the day draws to a close. A scream pierces the silence. "Fire!" You leap out of bed, adrenaline coursing through your veins. The others follow suit, and before long you've burst through the front door and into the street. Riddis's house is ablaze, a nearby villager screams. My mother is still inside, Ridis shrieks, darting past you to fetch water from the well south of the village. Ridis is gathering water in an attempt to fight the blaze all on her own. Mar's eyes light up. He scrambles over the edge of the well and sucks the well dry in an instant. He pokes at his swollen belly and gestures toward Ridis's house, as if to say, "Get me back there, quick." Mar douses the house with the water he sucked up from the well. The fire is reduced to mere embers, and all is well. Or so you think. Something darts out from behind the house and attacks. Excellent. The fiery beast dispatched, you return to putting out the last of the blaze with Mar's help. Ridis's mother, now safe, tells you the creature came out of nowhere and set the house aflame. What would bring a creature of fire to a place like this, you wonder? Light breaks on a new day, and the commotion of the fire feels but a nightmare. You lead your party to Ridis's house to ask for safe passage out of the bewildering wood. Though spared from complete collapse, Ridis's home has been thoroughly scorched. Ridis sits alone in one of its rooms, the air thick with the smell of char. There shouldn't be any fire creatures for miles, she grumbles. She says the monster appeared while she was playing the woodland flute last night. As to why any monsters, let alone fire monsters, appeared, well, despite the circumstances, you ask Ridis to lead you out of the bewildering wood as promised. I did promise that, didn't I? She says wearily, rising from her seat. The poor girl is clearly still in shock. Why do you want to venture out beyond the bewildering wood anyway? She inquires, as she gathers this and that in preparation to leave. We are in search of the dragon, you say valiantly, adding, the reward will be significant should we defeat him. Honesty is the best policy. Sounds like a real risky way to make a living, she replies flatly, feigning interest. A group of Ivory Order people came through here just the other day, she explains. You connect the dots with malice. Those three, you seethe. At last, Ridis is ready to depart for the edge of the bewildering wood. This road takes you to the east side of the bewildering wood. but you'd be hard-pressed to find your way without a woodlander's help, the guard warns. Upon seeing that Riddis is with you, he steps aside and lets you through. The eastern portion of the woods certainly does not want for thick, soupy fog. You turn away, ready to lead the party deeper into the bewildering wood. "Wait just a moment, you lot," calls the voice of an older man from somewhere behind you. Riddis appears to be familiar with him. She calls him Mr. O. "Here you are, young lady," he says, handing her a slip of paper. Oh dear. Further, Mr. O explains, Riddis did not have a fire insurance policy at the time of the conflagration, and so she shall have to pay in full. "I'll thank you kindly to pay by the end of the month. Bye now," Mr. O says, receding from view as he returns to the forest. Hee. Riddis lets out a bemused chuckle, her demeanor remarkably calm for what has just transpired. She pulls the woodland flute from her cloak and begins softly playing. Riddis's ear-splitting performance, shall we say, draws monsters out from behind the trees. Within moments, they are nearly upon you. Don't hold back. That's odd. I must have made a mistake, Riddis says, burying her face in her old book once more. She opens the book to a particular page and thrusts it in your face. "You can't tell anyone in the village I let you see this, okay?" It's a page of sheet music with a note scrawled beside it that reads, "Play this lucky tune to reverse your financial fortunes and make money woes a thing of the past." "No matter how many times I played this last night, our debt never went down," she fumes, incensed. You inspect the page a bit more carefully. Off in a corner, in letters so small as to be illegible, another message reads, "May summon monsters if played incorrectly." You finally see that so long as Riddis holds the flute, this is nothing more than a monster conjuring melody. You snatch the woodland flute from her hands. "You have lost your flute-playing privileges," you inform her. "But I'll never escape from this mountain of debt without it," she cries, clearly still believing in the melody of fortune. Melanie quietly opines that while Riddis is many things, bright is not one of them.